Hey there, it's Colin and welcome. I know many of you out there are in business for yourselves, some of you at the startup phase, some of you in the early start years, and indeed more of you again in those later years, perhaps in the plateau years. And I'd like to believe that in sharing elements of my own story that some of you will experience an aha moment where you'll pick something up from my story which will make your life and your journey that little bit easier. That's my objective. And so for the next 5 minutes or so I want to talk to you about a particular topic, and that particular topic for today is the trouble with optimists. And it comes from a snippet from my book Feeding Johnny, How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks. And in this snippet I'm going to talk about the importance, the absolute vital importance of you believing in yourself and in what it is you set out to do, but at the same time being truthful with yourself and handling in real time the obstacles that are in your way and not brushing them under the carpet. I'm going to talk to you about that. If you like and can relate to what I'm talking about, well then perhaps you'd like it or leave a comment below, or indeed if you think somebody else would benefit from it, feel free please to share it on either privately or publicly, entirely up to you. And so, the trouble with optimists. I want to introduce you to Admiral Jim Stockdale. Admiral Jim Stockdale was the highest ranking US naval officer to be imprisoned in the Vietnam War back in the day. And because he was the highest ranking, well then his captors, the Vietnamese, wanted to use him for propaganda video. So they put him on a stool one day, tried to video him, but this guy was tough. He said, no way. He found a way of slashing his own head with a razor, so they couldn't video him. They said, no problem, Jim. Wear this hat. We'll video you now. No way, says he. And he found a way of getting a stool and beating his own face to a pulp with the stool. I mean, this guy was tough out. He was tortured almost to the point of death multiple times while he was in the camps, but he learned how to survive. By the time he got out of the camps, he was a shadow of the man that he had been in the past. His arms had been pulled from their sockets. He was on a walking frame and so on. But he survived. And in a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins, the author, Jim Collins, asked Stockdale, how did you survive? And he said, I developed this philosophy. Never lose faith that you will prevail in the end while simultaneously confronting the most brutal facts of your current reality. Never lose faith that you will prevail in the end while simultaneously confronting the most brutal facts of your current reality. That's how he survived the war. He was asked who didn't survive the war, and Stockdale's answer to who didn't survive the war is why I bring him into my talks. And when he was asked who didn't survive the war, his answer astounded me. He said, that's easy, the optimists didn't survive the war. Now when I read that the first time I thought, that doesn't make any sense. I considered myself an optimist, and maybe you consider yourself an optimist. The optimists didn't survive the war. He went on to explain that the optimists were those who didn't really give credence to the stuff they were going through at any deep level. They just sort of said, it's going to be grand, lads. We'll be home. The Marines will come in and rescue us. We'll be home at Christmas. Of course, the Marines didn't, and they weren't. No problem, lads. We'll be at home in the good old US of A in the summertime. Of course, they weren't. Do you know what? We'll be back home eating turkey on Thanksgiving. Of course, they weren't. Christmas came and went. Summer came and went. Thanksgiving came and went. Christmas came and went again. And he said the optimists gave up. The optimists simply died of a broken heart. Now, what's that got to do with you and I? Well, what's got to do with you and I is we've got to remember Stockdale's philosophy. Never lose faith that you will prevail in the end while simultaneously confronting the most brutal facts of your current reality. In other words, absolutely believe in yourself and what it is you've set out to do, and that you will prevail. But at the same time, don't be Pollyanna about all the stuff that's happening around you. Handle the stuff that's happening around you. Deal with the stuff that's happening around you. Believe you'll prevail in the end while simultaneously confronting the most brutal facts of your current reality. And don't just be an optimist. Don't just be a Pollyanna optimist. And I hope you found that interesting. I hope you found that snippet interesting. So if you'd like to hear more of this type of stuff, well then simply pop over to the homepage and watch the 2-minute video there, or pop your name in to the boxes there, and we'll send you regular stuff of this nature that I hope and believe may be of help to you. Indeed, if you'd like a free copy of Feeding Johnny, How to Build a Business Despite the Roadblocks in audio format, well then click the link below this video in the blog, colinbryanmotivation.com/free audiobook. If, as I said earlier, if you've enjoyed it, feel free to leave a comment. If you think somebody else might benefit, please share it out privately or publicly. And then come back next week and I'll share another story with you. Come back next week and we'll do another Coffee with Colin. Cheers. delicious. Bye for now.